KWEI. Before we begin, turn on the lights, lock the door, and make sure your screen isn't reflecting in the window. Urban legends always seems like just that stories meant to entertain and scare, until you start noticing the details. Why are these stories told over and over again? Why do people swear they've seen these creatures in real life? Today, I'll tell you about 10 modern Japanese legends circulating on forums and social media. After these stories, you might not sleep so easily. Are you ready? Amos. Teke Teke, the ghost that won't let you go. If you're walking home late at night and hear behind you, don't turn around. That's Teke Teke, the ghost of a girl who was severed in half. If she catches you, she'll slice you in two, just like her. Teke Teke moves on her hands, dragging herself forward with a horrifying bone-cracking sound against the pavement. She appears in tunnels, near train stations and under bridges. If you see her, there is no escape. The first mentions of Teke Teke date back to the 1960s, but her story exploded in the popularity in the 1990s and 2000s when internet forums began compiling eyewitness accounts. Some Japanese train stations still install barriers, as people claim to have seen a girl without legs crawling on the tracks. They say that if you say her name 3 times in front of a mirror at 3 a.m., you will hear inside your house. Kuchisake-onna, the Slit-Mouthed woman.
Am I pretty?
If you say no, she kills you. If you say yes, she takes off her mask, revealing her mouth sliced open from ear to ear. Then she asks again,
How about now?
If you say yes again, she slices your mouth open just like hers. If you say no, she kills you. How to survive? Say, you look average. This confuses her, giving you time to escape. Throw candy at her. Legend says she's obsessed with sweets and might let you go. Say the word pomelo. For some reason, this paralyzes her. Why does pomelo work? Pomelo, in Japanese, is a citrus fruit similar to a grapefruit. No one knows why this word stops her, but some believe it resembles an ancient spell used to ward off evil spirits. Kuchisake-onna roams the street at night, wearing a surgical mask. In her hands, a pair of scissors. She prefers lone pedestrians, especially children and teenagers. In 1979, reports flooded Japan about a masked woman attacking people. The hysteria got so bad, the police increased street patrols. If you hear a voice behind you whisper,
Am I pretty?
run. The Red Room. You're browsing the internet, watching videos, scrolling through social media, when suddenly a red pop-up window appears. It only has one question. Do you like the Red Room? You try to close it, but it keeps coming back. Your mouse won't move, your keyboard won't work, the screen flickers. Now you see a list of names. At the bottom of the list, your name. The Red Room legend is about a cursed website that functions like a digital curse. What happens if you see it? Your computer freezes. Closing the window is impossible. If you see the name list, you will be found dead in your room within days. Some claim the window starts following you. Strange messages appears. You hear whispers in your headphones, and some even say they've seen eyes staring back at them from their screen. The Red Room story started in the early 2000s during the rise of urban legends online. But there are 2 real events that could have inspired it. The Red Room website actually existed. In the early 2000s, a website really did ask users questions and lock their screens. Those who visited it reported seeing distorted images, cryptic messages, and eerie sounds. One day, the site vanished without a trace. A real murder linked to the legend. In 2004, a schoolgirl in Nagasaki, Japan, killed her friend with a knife. After her arrest, police discovered she had been obsessed with the Red Room legend and frequently visited forums discussing it. This turned the legend into something real, and many believe the site still exists in the dark web. They say if you search for the phrase, "Do you like the Red Room?" you might find a link. But if you click it, will you be able to close it if your computer starts glitching, if your mouse won't move? If you see a list of names, you'd better start counting your last days. The Kotoribako video, the footage you should never watch. You're on your computer, browsing, watching random videos, nothing unusual. Then, you stumble upon a strange link. The file is called Kotoribako. You press play. At first, nothing. Then, strange, blurry symbols flash on the screen. Distorted faces appear, scratched and crushed, their mouth moving silently. The only sound is static white noise, like someone trying to say something you can't understand. Black flashes. For a second, you swear you see eyes staring right at you. Then, the screen goes black. Nothing happens. But now, you're not alone. Kotoribako is rumored to be a cursed video hidden in the dark web. It consists of nonsensical visual symbols that cause headaches, anxiety, and hallucinations. What happens after watching it? People claim they start hearing whispers in an empty room. Their electronics start malfunctioning. Some rappers sing shadows that never disappear, even in broad daylight. The name Kotoribako translates to little bird bugs. The meaning? Unknown. In Japan, there is a real cursed artifact called Kotoribako, a box used in ancient curses. These boxes supposedly trap pieces of people who died a natural death. Legend says if you open one, the curse is released. Some believe the Kotoribako video is more than a file. It functions like a virus, embedding itself into your mind, altering your perception of reality. They say the video can still be found in the dark web, but if you watch it, it will find you. Mary-san, the doll that will find you. A little girl once received a beautiful porcelain doll named Mary-san. It was her favorite toy. She talked to it, carried it everywhere, even tucked it into bed at night. But as she grew older, she lost the interest and eventually threw it all away. That should have been the end of it. A few days later, she got a phone call.
It's Mary-san. I'm at the park.
She hung up. Probably a prank. The next night, another call.
It's Mary-san. I'm near your house.
Now, she was freaked out. She asked her parents if anyone had been by, but no one had seen anything. Later that night, as she was about to go to bed, her phone vibrated again.
It's Mary-san. I'm inside your house.
She jumped up, turned on the lights. Nothing. Then, one final call.
I'm right behind you.
She was found dead the next morning. Mary-san is Japan's version of the cursed doll legend, but with a technological horror twist. She doesn't just haunt people in the physical world, she finds them through their phones. The calls always start innocently. I'm at the park, I'm on your street, I'm outside your house. But the moment she says, I'm inside, it's too late. Some say if you decline the call, she won't stop dialing. If you ignore her, she waits. And when you finally answer, you hear her breathing right behind you. The Mary-san legend spread like wildfire in the 1990s, with school kids daring each other to call mysterious numbers. Then, as mobile phones became more common, reports shifted to text messages and even social media DMs. Some believe Mary-san is a cursed doll seeking revenge for being discarded. Others think she's the spirit of a dead girl who possessed her favorite toy. In recent years, new versions of the story have emerged. Mary-san now sends text instead of calling. Some claims to have received messages from unknown numbers with text like,
Did you forget me? Why did you throw me away? I'm coming.
If you've ever thrown away an old doll, be careful, she might come looking for you. And if your phone rings right now, maybe don't pick up. The cursed number. They call it the number of death. If you dial on this number, a whispering voice answers, then static. And finally, a cold, empty voice tells you the exact date of your death. In Japan, the number 4 sounds identical to the word death. Because of this, 4444 is considered a cursed sequence, bringing misfortune or worse. What happens after calling? Your electronics start glitching. You begin experiencing bizarre coincidences. Dark shadows appear in your home. Some say everyone who has ever called the number has disappeared or died under mysterious circumstances. Stories of this number date back to the 1990s, when reports emerged of people vanishing after receiving strange calls. Then, in the 2000s, thrill-seeking students started calling the number for fun. The survivors claimed weird things started happening immediately after. One girl received a voicemail from herself, except it was her voice screaming. A group of boys called this a joke, but within a week, one fell down a flight of stairs, another was hit by a car, and the last refused to speak about what happened. They say if you hang up before hearing your death date, you might escape the curse. But if you stay on the line, nothing can save you. The man in the mirror, the figure you should never see. If you stare into a mirror at 3 a.m., they say you might see him. A tall man in a black suit standing behind you. But here's the thing, he is not actually in the mirror. You don't see him with your eyes, you just know he's there. And if you turn too quickly, he'll be gone. But if you stare for too long, he starts moving toward you. How does he appear? You feel an unexplainable presence while looking in the mirror. The room feels colder. You hear a soft tapping sound, but the mirror isn't moving. If you blink and suddenly feel like someone is closer, stop looking. Some claim if you see him 3 nights in a row, he will follow you out of the mirror. The first recorded case of this legend surfaced in 2005 on a Japanese forum, where an anonymous user shared his experience. He claimed to have seen the shadow of a man in his bathroom mirror, but his roommate saw nothing. Since then, more reports have surfaced of people seeing a tall, thin man standing behind them at night. Some say if you ever see the man in the mirror, don't move. Close your eyes, count to 10, and go to sleep. But if you hear him tapping on the glass, it's already too late. The crying child in the huddle, the voice you should never follow. If you ever hear a child crying in a hotel hallway late at night, don't open your door. Many tourists in Japan have reported the same chilling experience. Late at night, they hear a soft, muffled cry coming from the hallway. At first, it sounds like a lost child, but when they checked with the front desk, there are not children staying in the hotel, and those who opened the door to check, they were never seen again. This legend is connected to Hitobashira, an ancient Japanese ritual where people were buried alive inside building foundations to ensure they stayed strong. Some believe these spirits never moved on and still cry out at night. If you hear crying in a hotel room, place a coin under the door. They say this stops the spirit from getting in, but if the coin is gone in the morning, run. The lantern in Okugiba Forest, the light that kills. Rumor had it that if you see a floating lantern in Okugiba Forest, it means one thing: you're next. Okugiba Forest is one of Japan's most infamous places. Dozens of people have vanished there, their bodies found weeks later, if at all. But those who come back alive all said the same thing. They saw a lantern floating in the air. It was far away at first, but when they stared at it for too long, it started moving toward them. And when it got too close, they blacked out. How does it work? If you look at it for more than a few seconds, it starts following you. If it catches you, you're never seen again. Some say it's not actually a lantern, it's a spirit hunting for its next victim. The first reports of the Okugiba lantern appeared in the 1980s when tourists started disappearing in the forest. Some locals believe it's the spirit of a lost traveler doomed to wander forever, dragging others with it. They say if you see the lantern, immediately light your own, place it in front of you, and the spirit will follow it instead. But if your flame goes out, you're already gone. The Mannequin video, the TikTok that watches you. Somewhere on the internet, there is a video of a mannequin. At first, it's completely still. Then, as you watch, it moves. Barely noticeable at first, a small twitch of the hand. Then the head turns slightly, and the longer you watch, the closer it gets. What happens when you watch it? At first, nothing seems wrong. But then you start seeing a mannequin in your dreams. Every night it gets closer, and when it finally reaches you, you never wake up. Some claim they saw shadows in their room after watching the video. Others say the mannequin started appearing in reflections, but never when they turned around. The first version of this video surfaced in 2019's of Japanese TikTok. It quickly disappeared, but not before thousands of people commented that they had the same exact nightmare after watching it. Some even claim they saw the mannequin outside their house. If you ever come across the video of a mannequin that seems too real, don't watch it to the end. Close the app. Turn on the light, because if it watches you for too long, it will want to meet you. These aren't just stories. People keep seeing things. They keep sharing their experiences. They keep disappearing. So, before you close this, take one last look around. Make sure your door is locked. Make sure your screen isn't reflecting in the window, cause if it is, you might not be alone. Subscribe for more horror.